Welcome to Faulty Lanterns Miniso Edition, where I myself go on rants. This particular segment is called V.A.M.P. Vampire Film Acceptance of Movies of Poor Quality. I'm a huge fan of vampire lore. Anybody else out there that also is probably knows how shitty vampire films can be. So that's why I came up with this kind of separate rating system to just hold vampire films in their own regard. A terrible vampire film compared to Citizen Kane is hot garbage. But a terrible vampire film compared to a piece of shit that sparkles when it's in the sun isn't half bad. Welcome back. I'm doing another episode. This one's on the 2004 film The Forsaken. I grew up watching this film, so it definitely has a little special place in my heart. It is, definitely very 2000s, but it's surprisingly has a lot of refreshing things that it does, and yeah, with that, enjoyed it. Let's start off. So there are no fangs, really, which are just, they don't really show them, I guess, and that's, intellectual vampires. Well, sort of. They're, roughabouts, but they're still as smart as their human counterparts. It's a fleshy rip, and which is like, definitely prefer that. And then, but the part that kind of counteracts that is it is very like, they're messy kids and they let the fucking blood dribble down their face. It's just a bit like, fucking wipe your mouth off. But turning process seems to be just the bite, but it is very slow. So bonus points is very slow, just the bite, The turning back, it seems to be a possibility after the death of the master, which is, classic. Healing factor seems to be pretty much non-existent or just very slow. There's no ability for flight. The zoomies, they didn't really show it. So that's, points for that. Let's see. No mention of garlic, holy water, fear of water, cross, silver, stake. They do have beheading. They do have the sunlight. No mention of invited inside. They do have a hallowed ground. They don't mention coffins or reflections. See, the morality kind of sits on the null because it's just the fact that they enjoy it. But I like that better than crying about it. No ability for daywalkers. The vampire villain, I would say, is good. He's not great, but he's got his perks. He plays a part menacing well enough, but yeah, not great, but good. Vampire lead, I'd say just is acceptable. The type of story is a vampire hunter story, which doesn't really get any extra points from me, but it's, it has its place. Let's see, some bonus points. There is a Renfield character. It is like, has some very sexy tone, which is needed, I think, in a vampire show. There's at least three great characters in it. I'd say the hotel clerk, Rex, and the main vampire are probably the three great characters. Once again, not great, but good. But they're worth mentioning, and they get that tick. It is quotable. There are some good one-liners. It doesn't really touch base on the cravings, which is, fine. The acting, I would say, is overall good. I mean, mostly the fact that if the acting overweighs bad acting, then I give it a point, which it does. But yeah, overly, it's just definitely, very 2000s. Surprisingly good midnight movie of the 2000s, I would say. yeah, there's some refreshing things about it. Definitely some really weird choices of edits and cuts, which kind of stood out as like a weird, yeah, just jarring, I guess, a little bit. I did like that when they bite the one character, they bit her near her bits, so it's more concealed of a bite. I think that's like, I mean, I don't know, I'll say if you're vampire, like where would you bite somebody? I think I like that. Just thinking outside the box of just a classic neck bite. Oh, and then there's two vampires going at it scene, but it's very, very bitey and bloody. I do like that as well. I think that's, two vampires having sex. I feel like it's gonna get gross to most people. It's a good note. I think they did well with that too. And then there's actually one scene that's pretty cool. He uses snake venom to kind of get high, which is also a pretty cool little original note. So props to that. Yeah, so that was 2004, The Forsaken, directed by J.S. Cardone. But yeah, it wasn't terrible. Definitely not my worst rated, but I'd give it a 59, which is, yeah, worth a watch. But 59 points. The Forsaken.